All right, moving on to the next thing here, getting these pants tied on. I'm pulling them up to where I think I'm guesstimating where they're going to need to be. And then I'm kind of pulling some slack back around to the back because I want it to be a wider tapered out because the hip bones, but I want it to be kind of straighter. So I'm going to pull this up. So I'm just poking this tie wire through. Actually, let me cut some of this off. Just cut out, what is that, 3-4 inch section? It's going to be more than I need. But for right here, I'm going to snug it right there, poke it through, create a little U shape in it, and suck it right in around this hardware cloth. Poking it back through the fabric. All right, here we go. It's the last of the finishing details before I can assemble the Jack Skellington. To really bring the razzle dazzle here, I'm going to use a hole saw, cut a hole in the top, and I use these yard stake lights. I'll get the rest of it, but I took it apart. I'll show you that in just a minute. But I'm going to use a hole saw that just leaves me, looks like about a 1/2 inch, 3/8 of an inch all the way around. And that way I can silicone this down to the top of the back of the lid. And hopefully it'll sit flat. If not, I'm not that worried about it. I might go dead center. No, I'll come to the back of them. Back angle a little bit. Hopefully it'll all come in. Anyhow, I can silicone it, do it in. But I'm going to bring you in close, show you the trick on how you don't break the drill bits. Do not use the drill bits on the center bits, the center guide. What I do is I take the drill bit out, I replace it. I get a grade 8 1/4 inch bolt that's long enough to stick out. I'll drill the hole first with a 1/4 inch drill, and then use this rod. Once the hole's drilled, then I'll use this rod to stick down in the hole, and that'll keep me centered, and that keeps me from breaking $6,000 worth of drill bits, because that system really sucks. It's the best way I found to do it. It's actually the only way I found to do it. So yeah, let's get started. I don't know if you can see that or not. It sticks out just enough to catch the hole once I drill it. And I'll show you the whole entire part, the rest of this, how I took it apart, which is simple. I mean, you have to take them apart to get that out, but I'll show you anyhow. This one's going to be illuminated too. While I painted it black on the inside, that way during the daytime it looks like Jack Skellington. I'll see how it reflects light at night. Inside this one's white. If you paint them white on the inside, man, they really pop with just a little bit of light. It really reflects that light out, and they look wonderful at night. But because I want this to look real life on the whole thing, I painted the inside this flat black. I'll see how it looks at night. I'm sure it'll be okay. If not, I'll make adjustments on the fly. Yeah, I'm going to go get my stuff and get started here. I'll bring you in close. In case you've never messed with them before, this is the entire thing this was from Home Depot, $5. These are the yard lights. You stick that stake down in there and they illuminate your sidewalk at night. What I do is I twist the top off the way it's designed. You got to pull that little thing to get the battery uncovered. But that's where I'm going to drill the hole, silicone it to the top of that, let it dry. Should be good to go. None of these last long term, so you'll always be replacing them as it goes. It's just the way it is. I've bought all the way the most expensive to the cheapest, and they all last and don't work about the same. So no worries, but I'll bring you in, I'll show you what we're doing. All right, before I get started and punch the hole up top, I'll show you, this is an older tank that I used to have as inventory. But I'd use an 1.5 inch hole saw the same exact way as I'm gonna do the larger. And I'd punch a hole in the back because it'll let extension cords pass in and out. So if you wanna permanently put lighting in it, this one I cut with the valve, or with the threaded end down. That way it can hold. You can put a flange on here and have mounted defense posts like these horses, the horse tanks I used to do, like right here. Or you can join them to each other, like right here. There's just 1,000. The possibilities are endless. On this style, I cut the bottom out that way you can set it down over top of a giant candle. Not necessarily pertinent, but it works. Anything goes. All right, I'm gonna show you how I punch holes in the tops of these tanks to put these solar-powered walkway lights on. The top unscrews. I just want to expose that hole enough, which I'm gonna go up quite a bit bigger, and then I'm gonna silicone around it, stick it to it, let that silicone dry, and it'll sit there and it'll work as good as any of these lights ever work. None of them seem to work great. I don't even know how they can sell stuff that falls apart all the time, but anyhow, back to the issue. I'm gonna center punch this out, put a pilot hole in, and on my hole saw here, I've got a grade 8 bolt that I cut the head off of. So I'm gonna drill the hole with a 1/4 inch pilot bit, and then this grade 8 bolt will keep it from snapping. If you're just using the center drill bits that they've got in these to go through metal, you're gonna go through $6,000 worth of them. Grade 8 bolts, cut the head off, put a little taper on the end, clean it up, and rock and roll it. All right, I'm coming dead to the back behind it. And I'm just marking it out, making sure, just double check where I'm drilling that it'll come out, it'll clear that. Let me bring it down just a little bit more. That'll work. I'm gonna punch this out. Gotta get my hearing protection. I don't know if you can see it, I put it on a tire here. That helps it from wiggling around, walling around. I work on tires for a lot of stuff, it really helps. But I'm gonna punch these holes out and then get my hearing protection. And 1/4 inch bit. Since these are mostly done, I gotta touch the paint up and the black's on the inside. This is how I touch them up. Just gonna put a towel underneath, spread out in my hand, just to keep a lot of the overspray from happening. There's a lot of metal shavings here stuff too I'm not super worried about. If you're doing these for customers, I clean them all up, but I'm not. There you've got, let it sit up, you're good to go. Once again, an old tube of silicone I had laying around. And I'm just going to set this right down here on it. Here they are lit up in the shop. Pretty cool.